Hello and welcome to a Not So Awesome review, and today is something a little different, a little special, because this is the 500th upload on this channel. Not only that, I've been on YouTube for 5 years, at least on this channel. I did have another channel before that, and before that I had another channel which had some videos on there, I guess, but I'm not really counting those, and the one from before this one, I did try a little bit, but didn't take off, and it kind of falls into the theme of why I'm doing a video on Batman today as part of my 500th video, kind of, I don't know if you want to call it celebration or whatever you want to call this thing, but when I started YouTube 5 years ago, if you go back a few months, or if you look up the whole Batman Court of Owls, there is a Not So Awesome review for it, but it's not on this channel, it's on my old channel, and it's kind of what got me into doing reviews in the first place, and why this whole channel even exists, is because of this Batman book. I remember, when it came out, I wanted to read it. I didn't know much about it. I wanted to just, get into reading comic books more than I already was. I think at that point I was only really reading Marvel stuff. And I had read some Batman stuff. Batman's a character I've always loved. I've watched it since the animated series. The New Adventures, Justice League Unlimited, Batman Beyond, all of that stuff, was stuff I watched growing up as a kid. And, I saw this book, and I wanted to know more about it. Went on YouTube. Didn't see any real reviews. I saw, maybe one or two, and they didn't really explain anything. They just showed the book, opened it, and here's some pages. They didn't talk or nothing. And I was thinking, I could do a better review than this, because I've seen other reviews before, and I was like, I want to give this a try. So, I ordered it, I read it, I liked it, and I did a review for it. And I was sitting here thinking, I don't know if I'm doing a good job. I don't know if this is good or not. I don't know, if people are going to like it. Oh, what can I do? I'm going to name it a Not So Awesome review. And the reason I'm naming it a Not So Awesome review is because if you put anything bad in the comments, like, this is a bad review, you didn't talk about this, or your points on this isn't good. My thought process on that was, well, I can always have that response, well, it's a Not So Awesome review. The review isn't awesome. So, what did you expect? And that's kind of been my motto for all of my videos ever since, that, well, it's called a Not So Awesome review. If you don't like it, well, you read the title, you read the name of the channel, that's not my fault at this point. And, yeah, so I owe a lot to Batman Court of Owls, Batman by Scott Snyder, and this entire run, which I really, really loved throughout the entirety of the New 52. I double dipped, as you can say, with these books. I bought all of the issues from issue 11 forward, and I regret not getting issue 1 through 10, especially issue 1. I think it go for like $60 to $100 or more, and I really would love to get those last 10 issues, all in first print if I can, but I'm not paying that much money, so, maybe one day on eBay I'll find it cheap and get lucky and get it and complete the run. I'll probably make a video if I do, but until then, I do have all these on hardcover. Not only that, Court of Owls and Death of the Family, I have both mass collections, which means I have both of those volumes in paperback. I have some of the crossovers, but I don't have all of them, and I kind of regret not getting the Joker crossover, because apparently it's better than this one. The Endgame, Joker Endgame, is actually apparently better than that one, because not only does it have the crossovers, but it has the entire actual series, which I didn't know about, because all the websites post saying that it has almost everything but the last issue. And I remember looking it up and seeing it, and apparently it does have the last issue in there. For some reason it's not listed in the description, but apparently it's there, so I can't 100% confirm it, but from what I've seen, that is a thing. But anyways, getting back on track with the whole Batman Scott Snyder, I just want to do a quick nostalgic look back at it, I guess would be the right way. Just talk about how, the series, how I feel about it, would I recommend it, and all that kind of stuff, and stuff that maybe I didn't like about it. And I'm gonna try and keep this short. I did film this video yesterday, and I had audio issues. The video was so long. My laptop isn't meant to edit in 4K, which, if you guys haven't noticed, for the last 2 months or so, since the beginning of the new year, all my videos have been in 4K thanks to my phone, which is what I record on. But there's two issues. One, sometimes the audio gets out of sync, which can be really annoying for me to have to fix. And two, three issues, I guess. Two would be I don't have a plugin for my microphone on my camera, which is my audio kind of went down for now. Sorry if I sound a little bit weird. I have still a little bit sick. My other issue is that around the 11-minute mark, once it switches to 12 minutes, the video file, since it's so big, it cuts off, and it still continues to record, but it misses a good 5 to 10 seconds of whatever I'm saying. So if you see a video of mine where I'm talking and all of a sudden it cuts to like another sentence, that's not necessarily me doing a jump cut. That's mostly because of the phone, especially if it's in that 12, 13 minute, maybe a little bit less than 12-minute range, depending on if I'm doing jump cuts in the video or not, which I typically only do in these style videos. Um, Anyways, all that aside, Batman by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. What can I say about this series? Obviously, I really enjoyed it enough to get all 10 volumes. I think, from the first volume, from the first issue, it had me hooked. This entire Batman series was written really, really well. Don't get me wrong, there's some issues I have in it. A few story arcs that kind of make me go, eh. But for the most part, it was really well done. And for somebody who wasn't reading Batman in the continuity sense of, from after Final Crisis or before Final Crisis or any of that, I knew of, Dick Grayson being Batman. I knew that if you wanted to read Bruce Wayne as Batman after the return of Bruce Wayne, you had to read Dark Knight, and that's what I was reading before this. And it was nice to have the New 52 just even happen because it gave you a fresh start for everything so that you could read it. And Batman was no exception, but what they did is they kept most of his history intact. I mean, nowadays it's more changed. There's a lot of stuff going on where sometimes something from pre-New 52 is canon that it kind of isn't at the same time. Robin being Red Robin, for instance. Now he's always been Red Robin, as in Tim Drake's always been Red Robin. He's never been just Robin in honor of Jason Todd. He didn't want to take that mantle in the New 52 continuity. The way they ruin Freeze's story arc by making Nora just some woman from like the 1800s that he became obsessed with and not his wife that got sick, that was horrible. I don't know who came up with that. I think that was in like the Batman Robin issue, or that was in like the Batgirl issue, but whoever came up with that was not good. That was horrible. There are going to be major spoilers throughout this entire thing, by the way, if you guys didn't already catch that. But, the series, it starts off, there's no origin story, first of all, which I think is fine. I mean, we get one later, but we don't need it. It's Batman. If you're picking up a Batman book, you probably already know, his origin, at least to a point. I mean, I know there's always new people, there's always new readers, there's always new fans who may not know almost anything about Batman, but I feel like he is such a big cultural, thing that most people at least know the bare bones origin, parents murdered and him becoming Batman after years of training. And that's pretty much the gist of it. You don't really need to know much else aside from, he's a billionaire and he goes out at night dressed as a bat, going after bad guys. That's Batman. It's when you put it down to the simplest thing, it's really easy to understand. You don't really need a whole backstory of what happened in the years prior, especially when you start reading Court of Owls. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's plenty of people who don't know of people like Damian Wayne, because although he's been around for a while, he's still a newer character in the sense of most newer media things haven't used him. I mean, he has been in some of the newer animated movies, but he hasn't been on like the big screen, like, in an actual movie in theaters or anything like that, to where people would know. I mean, there's still plenty of people who don't even know who Miles Morales is, and he's been around for a long time. So obviously, someone like Damian Wayne, if you're starting to read this, you're going to be kind of confused, maybe like, who is this guy? Batman has a son? That's weird. I didn't know that. That somebody out there, I know some of you are thinking, that's not true. I knew it. Everybody knows this. It's common knowledge. It's common knowledge to you and maybe your friend group, but like I said, there's people out there every day getting into this stuff who don't know. So just wanted to put that out there. But point here is Court of Owls. It's such an easy read for somebody who's never read Batman, who just wants to get into the series just in general. It is really good. And not only that, it was like an introduction to new villains, the Court of Owls and the Talon, and it made it so that it felt like you don't these are new villains. That was probably the best part because before then it would always be, oh, here's the Joker doing something, oh, here's the League of Shadows doing something, oh, here's Bane, he's planning and doing stuff, and then after a while, yeah, it kind of does get a little stale. It was always the same old villains being reused over and over again, and not only was this kind of like a jumping on point for people, but it was a jumping on point with new villains that no one knew anything about. Not only that, it like added so much to kind of like the lore of Batman. The Court of Owls has been around since the beginning of Gotham. They've been watching, they manipulate things, they assassinate people who they want gone so they can have their own people take power. And learning through all this, kind of finding out, Bruce Wayne thought his parents might have been killed by the Court of Owls, and investigating as a kid, all of it was done really well. Now, don't get me wrong, near the end of it, when it's like, does Bruce have a brother? Is the Talon his brother? Is that what's happening here? Yeah, it goes a little extreme, but most comic books go more extreme and to the point where it's really just like what? And I'm gonna refer to Monster Men, where that thing just went way out of control, and I don't even want to talk about Monster Men, but that's a good example of a comic book that's not at least somewhat grounded in reality. It's Batman, it's a superhero. It shouldn't be grounded in reality, but I mean, um, it was more believable, I guess you could say. So, the whole story, the whole first, 2 volume story, what is that, 12 issues, 10 issues? I want to say it was like 10 issues of this entire story arc with all the crossovers. Really good read, really enjoyed it, and it was a really good, fresh, new take on Batman, and it was awesome. It was good. It was still Batman. We didn't have to learn like, oh, this Batman believes in this and this and this. Kind of like Superman, they changed him into a blogger, and they changed his character so much that I think by the end, I know there was people who liked him. Don't get me wrong, but I know there was other people who just did not like his character, and I think that kind of influenced over to DC on why they brought classic Superman back, just because he wasn't the same. Um, that's not a bad thing sometimes, but sometimes it can ruin a character, it can ruin a series for some people. But Batman was still Batman. He was still awesome. He was still a detective, and it really came off as really just as a good series. I really don't know how else to put it. And then right after this event, we get like a 2 part, I think, issue where it's just a little thing going on, and all of a sudden, Death of the Family starts. And the thing is about Death of the Family, really good book. Maybe a little bit overhyped because I know it went really crazy. They had those variants with the cool masks. That's kind of like this dust cover here, where you open it, it's a Joker's mask, and then under it was the character that was for. And those issues started going for a lot of money. Luckily, I was able to get them all at regular price at my comic book store. But if you wanted like the newsstand edition, that thing on eBay, it's way too much. Even the regular ones on eBay were going for way too much. I want to say the prices may have settled down by now. I haven't checked them in a while, so I wouldn't know. But, City of Owls and Court of Owls showed us Batman working with, I guess you could say, the Bat family, including Red Hood, which was really cool to see. Red Hood, Nightwing, Damian, Batgirl, all of them working together to try and take out the Talons. Not to mention the awesome fight at the end of City of Owls. Not the versus the Talon with Batman, but the fight at the mansion, and just the way that we had that, the Court of Owls has sentenced you to die, and it's every panel where they're saying it is a different person that the Court of Owls is about to assassinate. The fact that Batman kind of goes through the ringer, he kind of starts going crazy when he gets trapped inside the labyrinth underground where the Court of Owls are, and he does overcome it. He is able to break out. The ominous, it's showing him doing the whole "I shall become a bat" from year one, and then we see the bat flying away from the mansion, getting killed by an owl. All of that made that, things like that made this series so good. And like I said, the whole family aspect of it, and then right away it gets taken away with Death of the Family. Death of the Family was good, don't get me wrong, but I wish we had seen more of that whole family working together. If we had gotten one more story arc of everybody working together, I think it would have made Death of the Family so much better because we would have seen them being torn apart. I think as readers we would have felt it more because we would have experienced more than just one story arc of them, working together. And instead, we would have been more attached to it. We would have been more kind of like, but they've been doing so good together. Even if it was like three story arcs, all of them 2 issues each, 3 issues max, not like a full 10 issues, whatever. It would have been really cool to see them all working together, and then see them torn apart by the Joker. Which, don't get me wrong, it was still a good series. It just shows how Joker doesn't care, how he thinks of Batman as someone who he helps makes better. That's how he sees himself. And it was good. It showed Joker just like, oh, I'm doing all this for you. I make you better. I challenge you. Batman, straight out refuses him, and he kind of breaks Joker's spirit, and that kind of spills over to Endgame. And, just the fact that he only loses the trust of the family because he didn't tell them that he found a Joker card in the Batcave. I don't know. I feel like it should have been more than that. And I get it. They were like worried. Well, Joker might know your identity. That puts all of us at danger. Why didn't you tell us? And Batman does explain why. But at the same time, I feel like, I don't know, it's something else a little bit more traumatizing should have happened. I know they all get kidnapped. They all think their faces get ripped off. But by the end of it, it shows them working together again. It shows them overcoming the toxin that all of them had and stopping each other from murdering each other. And, you would think, oh, everything's going to be okay. But no, nobody really wants to talk to each other. Everybody kind of abandons Bruce in the end, saying they can't make it to the mansion today. It's kind of sad because, it's not like typical for him to invite everybody. It's not something he usually does anyway, regardless of how close they were working in Court of Owls and all that. You didn't see him inviting them all over. If you saw an issue, maybe like in Christmas or Thanksgiving, of him having them all over, then maybe it would be kind of more like, oh, they didn't want to come this year or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, if we had like that expectation of he's already invited them over like 2 or 3 times, now they're not going after the Joker thing, then it would have been more of a shock, I guess, would be the right way to put it. But still a good book nonetheless. I believe the only way to get this version with the see-through is to get like the first edition of it. I think the newer ones don't have it from what I remember in the comments somebody asking me about it. So best chance is just to go on eBay and see if it's the cover that you want, and it'll probably end up being used. But yeah, 0 Year in Dark City. Not my favorite of this series at all, but they weren't bad. I like Secret City a lot better because we get the Red Hood gang and we get kind of a origin for Joker. And I say origin for Joker because obviously they don't say it's Joker. We don't know it's Joker, but come on, it's Joker or a Joker. But it was good. I liked it. Batman's origin itself was okay. It wasn't anything amazing in my opinion. It wasn't a bad book. It's a good read and I do recommend it, but mostly for the Red Hood part because that was where everything was interesting. Batman, we didn't even get that much Batman from what I remember, and he wasn't very monologue-y in this. We didn't get so much of him talking or anything. We did get some, but it was just all right. It wasn't anything big, but like I said, it's definitely worth reading, especially if you're a Joker fan, just to kind of see him as Red Hood and the whole Ace Chemical Plant accident and everything. And like I said, it's not Joker, but I mean it's Joker, so And then Dark City it's weird. And the reason I say it's weird, I don't understand what happened. Like I've read it more than once, and I still don't get. Okay, Batman gets knocked out in the beginning of the attack by Riddler, and he wakes up, and we get introduced to Duke, who becomes a main character later on. But what makes no sense for me is the fact that how long was Bruce? How long was Batman knocked out for? Did they keep the mask on him the whole time he was knocked out? Because, I mean, he wakes up. Not only has that whole flood happened, I guess, I'm assuming, um, the city is, like, in ruins. And it's not just in ruins as in, okay, buildings are falling down. That could have happened in an attack, okay. No, there was, like, moss and grass and, like, the streets were messed up. Was that because of the storm? Did the grass grow really fast? Was he knocked out for a month, for a year? I'm so confused on that. I don't know. Maybe some of you guys understood that better than me. If you did, let me know. But it was just, I don't get it. I don't get it. It was all right. It wasn't the best story ever. I know people love that look of Batman right there with the purple gloves and the sleeves torn and him on like on a motorcycle and all that stuff. I will admit he looks cool, and he outsmarts the Riddler and restores power to the city and takes him out and everything. The military doesn't want to go in for whatever reason because I don't remember, probably for the safety of the people inside. I honestly don't remember. There was blimps, I think, patrolling the city that were controlled by the Riddler. But yeah, it was all right. The worst thing to come out of it, honestly, is the fact that now every time they refer to Zero Year, they refer to it as Zero Year. And I don't mean like the creators and everything. I mean the actual characters in the comic book. And we have in Monster Men, again, Night of the Monster Men, we have Gordon talking about how this storm that's coming is probably worse than the one from Zero Year. And I honestly hate it when they do that. I don't know why. It's a pet peeve, I guess you could say, when a character acknowledges the name of a story arc as an event that happened in that series. I'm not a fan of it. I don't know why. It really bugs me. Anyways, Graveyard Shift was just the annuals and a few random stories. I want to say that's the one that had a Clayface story. Might have been Epilogue, but I'm pretty sure it was that one where just Clayface is looking like, and not because he knows he's Batman, just because he's framing him. And then some Arkham lady, really creepy, weird story. I think that was the annual, actually. It was good. It wasn't bad. I'd recommend it. It's all right, but don't expect anything epic. If you don't want like any convoluted like crazy storylines, you just want random stories, Graveyard Shift is basically the book for you. I think the longest any story arc in there is 2 issues. Endgame, maybe my favorite story here, and that's going to be because, first of all, I wasn't spoiled to what Endgame was. I'm sure people probably already knew what Endgame was going to be, I'm assuming, but I didn't. All I knew it was what I saw in the cover was Green Lantern's ring tied around the Justice League while they're attacking Batman. Or maybe it was tied around Batman while they're attacking him. Either way, we got this whole the Justice League is fighting Batman, and that was it. That was the synopsis we were given. It was like, why are they attacking him? Is this going to be like a repeat of Tower of Babel where he finds a way to take them all out and it gets used against them? Like, what's going on? Why is the Justice League attacking Batman? You read the issue, you read the first issue of it, not knowing what's going on, and then, you get to that last page and you see Superman, and he has the Joker grin and everything going on. You're like, oh shit, Joker took, like, over the Justice League and is having them attack Batman. That was amazing. And then Batman does find a way to take them out, because, well, he's Batman. Why wouldn't he find a way to take them out? It's Batman. But that aspect of it kind of ended there. We didn't get more of the Justice League. They were kind of they weren't able to help Batman throughout the entire event, where Joker not only releases a new toxin that turns people basically into the crazies. If you guys seen that movie, he's like spouting off about how he's basically immortal and how he's been in Gotham since before the Court of Owls, and found this kind of best way to describe it would be a version of a Lazarus pit, but a better one. It starts with a D, Dynosium or something like that, and he drank from it when he was, I want to say, like a caveman or something, and he's been around since then, and he can't die. He even does actually get shot at some point by Gordon, and he's perfectly fine, and just like clobbers Gordon. I don't remember what happens to him. I know he doesn't kill him, obviously, because he's like the main character in the next arc, but yeah, it was awesome to see, because as you're reading it, as you're going through it, it's kind of like becoming more and more, is he telling the truth? Is this really what's going on? Is the Joker actually from there? Because, he's not dying, and he's kind of really taken over the city this time. Things get pretty dire in this like entire story arc, which makes it even more epic. You know, the fact that the city is falling apart around them, and all these people are like attacking their own family because of the toxin. Duke is back in it again. You see his parents kind of go after him because they get it, and we have Batman kind of figure out a way to make a cure, and he has to go to the pit where it is, and that's where he confronts Joker. And that final battle was really well done. I really enjoyed it, and it had a pretty dark ending. I mean, it was an epic battle between both of them. You see the Joker actually fighting Batman, like not just getting hit, his ass beat by Batman, but actually both of them fighting each other to the death was really good. It was really well done, and it did leave you wondering, well, what happened or what's going to happen next. And what happened next was super heavy in Bloom, where Gordon becomes Batman from through a like kind of police program, because at this point everyone believes Batman is dead. You, the reader, believe Batman is dead up until the end of that next issue, of that first issue of that. So you basically believe Batman's dead from like for like a couple of weeks, a month, because it's only one issue apart that you realize he lost his memory. Um, the Dynosium thing, it healed him, and Joker. We find out Joker is still around, but they both lost their memory. And the main thing here is we're getting two stories. We're getting one of Bruce Wayne leading a happy life where he's helping kids, he's helping others, he's falling in love with this woman, and we have Alfred happy for him, even though he doesn't remember Alfred, which I think makes him a little sad. But the main thing is he doesn't remember Batman at all. He doesn't know that he's Batman at all, and you know Alfred wants to keep it that way. Even though he even talks to Superman, Superman tells him he needs to know. Alfred's like, no, he's better off this way. Don't tell him. And at the same time, we have Gordon kind of going through being Batman, having that giant rabbit armor suit. He does call it, makes it say, he says it looks like a rabbit. That's what I'm trying to say right now. And it's a cool looking suit, I'm not going to lie. It looks awesome. So there is that, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Gordon. He's an alright character. I do enjoy him, but I'm not like a person who would want to read a comic book centered all about him. His story as Batman wasn't bad. It was decent enough. It didn't make me want to quit reading the series or anything, especially wanting to know what's going to happen with Bruce and everything. But it was okay. It wasn't the best. And then we get Bloom, who was kind of his main villain throughout the whole thing. And when Bloom starts attacking the city, at this point, Batman already knows. Bruce Wayne finds out he's Batman, thanks to Duke's help, who's still around, by the way. And it was cool to see how he came back, but at the same time, finding out that Batman wanted to clone himself is a little bit weird. I feel like that's not something he would want to do. I feel like that even was a story arc where he didn't want that to happen, but in the New 52, he wants it to happen. He wants there to be a new Batman. After every Batman dies, he believes there's a new generation, so he should have himself cloned. And they play that off in Future's End a little bit more. They talk about it more anyway. But I don't know. It was all right, but the way he got his memories back was decent enough. With the whole he had to go brain dead for the machine to work, and then he came back, and he came back with a new suit, with the yellow outline. The inside of the cape is purple, which I think is awesome. I like the new suit. I think it looks really cool. Don't get me wrong. I really do like the design that Jim Lee gave him and that Greg Capullo ended up using for the entire series, but the newer design, I think looks really awesome. And it was a nice ending seeing him team up with Gordon at the end. Gordon, taking on Bloom while Batman went on to try and... Actually, no, Gordon went to go stop whatever Bloom did while Batman took on Bloom in, I think, his own version of a giant robot or something. I don't remember exactly. It's been a while, but it was a pretty epic battle nonetheless, and I really, really liked it. Epilogue is, as you would expect, an epilogue of stuff, just some leftover stories, the leftover annuals, the leftover in-between issues that don't really have a major story arc. The Future's End issue where we see the cloning thing, which was alright. It's basically a new clone of Batman is born, and he's given a choice because they all get memories up to the point where he makes the oath that he will be Batman, and each one is given a choice to not do it, but all of them up to that point have said that they will. So it was good. It wasn't bad. And then probably one of the best issues was uh, where he's going around and he's on patrol, but there's no crimes happening. He thinks crimes is happening. He sees this guy who he thinks is about to rob this lady, and he's about to jump in. And he's all, "Hey, you dropped this," and gives it to the lady, and she thanks him, and it wasn't a thing. He sees two people from the Court of Owls talking, and they have their masks on, but they're not committing any crimes, they're not doing anything. And it happens throughout the entire issue. It was a nice issue showing that, every once in a while, it can be calming Gotham. He can have a night off if he needs it. And it was a good issue. Uh, I don't remember what issue. I think this was in Robin, but I want to say one of these did have the Robin issue with the remembering thing, but I had to check an R. I can't remember at all what happened in the Batman one. I want to say the Batman one was the one where he kept having the flashback. And if it is, then it was one of the best issues, just period. Scratch that. Very good issue, but now that I remember, yeah, that one is from the Batman and Robin one. Though, I will say the issue in here for the Robin remembering thing was still really well done, because... And this is part of the Graveyard Shift one. At this point, I believe it's Harper. I believe that's her name, the girl with the blue hair. We've been introduced to her somewhere around Court of Owls, City of Owls area, and, she notices Batman kind of struggling. He's tired. He's going after all these bad guys, and he's going non-stop, because it's kind of how he deals with his emotions, as he bottles them up and just goes out and beats Batman. And you could say, like, psychologically, that's because, it's a way to put aside his emotions and just do what he does. Forget the persona of Bruce Wayne, forget the persona of being a father or anything like that. He's just Batman in this moment, and he's going after these bad guys. And Harper sees him struggling and tries to help him and stuff. And, they know about Robin. Everybody knows about Robin being dead, so she kind of puts up a little memorial for him on the rooftop of this thing. And this giant R comes up on this building, and it's a really nice moment. Not as good as the one I was describing a minute ago from Batman and Robin. Very good issue right there. I definitely recommend checking it out. But still, it was still written really well. This one I still definitely recommend. If anything, pick up Graveyard Shift just for that issue, because it is really, really good. I'm not doing it justice the way I'm describing it, but it was really good. That said, the writing throughout the series was done really well. It all flowed really good. We didn't get anything, that made us not understand what was going on, aside from him being knocked out and waking up to a dystopian Gotham. Everything was clear. We knew what was going on from either looking at the art, looking at the pictures, the images we're supposed to be seeing, and, whatever is in Bruce's inner monologue. And his inner monologue, and just the dialogue flowing really well. None of the stuff they did in Monster Man, where when Batman is talking to Robin on the radio, he has to say his name so we know he's talking to Robin, but then the next panel he's talking to Batgirl, so he has to say Batgirl's name. None of that crazy convoluted stuff that I didn't like from there. Everything here flowed really well. The writing was really good. The stories were really good. It was a very well written series. So, Scott Snyder, you did one of the best jobs in writing this whole, Batman series. Even with Batman Black Mirror. Very good series. All-Star Batman, I don't know what's going on there. I feel really disappointed in that series. Coming off of this and moving on to your next work on that, I don't know what happened. I don't think it's anywhere near as good as this stuff, to be honest. But that's just my opinion. Art-wise, Greg Capullo's art throughout the whole series, very good. I got really no complaints there. I made a complaint once about how the eyes have like the same kind of expression throughout every character, and people, I think, got mad at that. I wasn't saying I hate the art. I like it. I'm just saying that sometimes the faces don't look like they have they just have like a weird expression to what's going on the page sometimes. But aside from that, the art is really good. Everything is clear, drawn, and I really liked it. I like Greg Capullo's art style. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just making an observation about the faces. But no, I mean it was really good. I was kind of wondering, when Rebirth started, was am I gonna like the new artist? Because All Star Batman, I'm sorry, no, I really do not like the art in it. I'm not saying it's bad. It's better than anything I can do personally, but I don't like it personally. I think it's all right. It's passable. It's art. It's comic book art. Art is subjective, but for me, it's definitely nowhere near as good as Greg Capullo, in my opinion. But the artist from Rebirth goes back and forth. Sometimes I feel like he gets not lazy, but doesn't do as a good a job as he can do. And I mean that in like when he does like wider shots where you see multiple characters. It's okay, but when he gets like up close and does like a close up of a character, then it looks amazingly good. So he's a good artist who I guess does casual stuff a little bit. I don't know how to explain that, but yeah, the art throughout the series is awesome. I got no complaints there. You know, it's a very good series. I do recommend you guys picking up Court of Owls and going through all 10 volumes. If you've been thinking about it, if you wanted to like start reading, you're like, I want to start reading Batman. Should I get Rebirth Volume 1 or should I get New 52 Volume 1? Maybe you're thinking, well, Rebirth is newer, but I definitely still recommend you start off on Court of Owls. You can get Rebirth, you won't be lost really, but I definitely recommend Scott Snyder's run. It is an amazing run. It is really good. It's 52 issues of amazing art, of amazing storytelling. Granted, not every issue, I believe, is done by Greg Capullo, and I don't think exactly every issue was Scott Snyder, especially the annuals. I'm pretty sure they didn't do the annuals, but nonetheless, recommend it. And you don't need the crossovers to enjoy the main story. Um, should you get the crossovers like Night of Owls and Joker Death of the Family? Sure. They enhance the story. They're good. One thing I do recommend if you're reading the Joker Death of the Family is just do not read the last issue in that, because if you haven't read the Batman one, it's the last issue in Joker Death of the Family is the last issue of the Batman Death of the Family. And if you haven't read the main story yet, then you're going to be kind of annoyed that you already know how it ends. So, just a heads up on that one. Like I said, I heard that the Joker Endgame one is better than this one. I can't confirm it. I want to get it eventually. Just haven't. 0 Years, which is the name of the companion book, I guess you could say, that comes with these two, where it has crossovers for 0 years. Not necessary at all. You can totally skip that one. Though if you want to see, Batgirl escaping a flood and beating up a guy and, doing that kind of stuff, and then totally go ahead. There was an issue with, I want to say Detective Comics with Gordon, and we get kind of an idea that, hey, is that the Joker? Which was pretty good. I'll give you that one. But aside from that, I think the other issues, I don't think really had anything to do with the story at all. So there is that. I don't think this one had a, third book. So there's that, and obviously Epilogue and Graveyard Shift both don't have anything. So yeah, that's pretty much my little nostalgic look back at Batman. I can say that this series is amazing. It got me into, reading not just reading Batman more hardcore than anything, but collecting a lot more. It got me into reviewing. It got me into, picking up, even if it only lasted for a few months, me picking up issues and doing a weekly comic book pickup and reviewing new series that I was really interested in doing. And I would love to do that again, but I don't think that's ever going to happen, just because I don't go every Wednesday to the comic book store anymore, unfortunately. I don't have a place to record where it'll be quiet enough for me to be able to do those videos every Wednesday. Maybe I'll start doing pickup videos monthly. It's something I've been considering for a while. Again, I don't know if I will. I do want to do stuff where like, hey, this is the back issue stuff I got, but we'll see how that goes. Um, I like I said, I kind of do owe this book a lot here, just for helping my channel grow, helping me get motivated into doing this stuff. This was the first video I posted that did really good. I mean, I think at the moment my most viewed video is still the unboxing for the Night of Owls mask set. Like, it did really well, and I'm proud of it because it did really well and doesn't have a bunch of thumbs downs either. Don't go do that. That's just rude. But yeah, it's definitely something that I hold close. Like, it's something I will always be like. This was my first full run of a writer and artist working on a comic book series, and I really liked it so much so that if I ever show my entire collection, you'll notice that my Batman collection outnumbers anything else that I have. I mean, it rivals my Marvel collection in its entirety, not just in the fact that this many Spider-Man books, this many X-Men books, whatever. It just rivals it by itself into how many books I have. It's definitely got me into reading so much more Batman that I ever thought I probably ever would. And there's still so many more books to get, so many more to read, so many more to review. And yeah, 5 years of doing this. I slowed down a little bit there, but I'm trying to pick it back up. Hoping the channel just keeps growing. We just passed 1,000 subscribers, 1,100 actually. Really fast. That 100 came in like a month. So hopefully we reach 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 soon. Who knows? Maybe. Can hope. I know I've been doing more action figure review stuff lately, and that will continue. I do like my imported action figures. I do like, pop collecting. It's fun. My friend got me into it, and it's just it's fun to do. It's something we have fun going out looking for, and Dragon Ball Z stuff, something else from my childhood, which I've been posting a pretty good amount of lately, but nothing new has come out yet, so I haven't been making any videos on that. But it's all stuff that I'm going to do, but I'm not going to stop on comic books. Like I said before, I want to try and do them every Wednesday. If I'm sick, yeah, I might miss a week or two like I did just this last month, and that's how long I've been sick, and I'm still not better. But I wanted to make this video special on here, so with that, I will say, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.